Increasing parental involvement in children's education has a significant effect on attainment. We're going to look at how one school is dealing with this challenge. When Headteacher Charles Davies arrived at Moulsecoomb Primary School in Brighton 5 years ago, it was a very different place from today.
Where we're standing now was just one large tarmac area with chain link fencing all around, not in particularly very good condition. The first day back in that September of '99, all the windows along the back of the building there were broken, and I was thinking, what have I let myself in for here?
But now the school has been transformed and more parents are becoming involved. This is the story of how it's happened.
Well, Moulsecoomb is a large, what was originally built as a council estate in the 1930s, and from 1970s onwards, quite a bit of urban deprivation started to occur. And now we're dealing with children who are in the top 5% deprivation of poverty within the whole of the UK.
Moulsecoomb Primary School has 386 pupils. 47% qualify for free school meals and over 60% have special educational needs. From the outset, Charles Davies' aim was to raise pupil achievement. Central to this was the need to get parents involved in their children's education.
Well, obviously, because we only have children from 10 to 9 till 10 past 3, and although we have breakfast club and we have after school clubs, it's only a very small percentage of an actual child's life. So it's crucial that we have parents or carers fully involved, working with the school to help with their children and their education, because what we do at school they need to be able to follow up with, and vice versa. Their own experience of school may well not have been very positive, may not have been particularly productive. When you then become a parent, you may have a very negative view, through no fault of your own, because it's the system that's let you down rather than necessarily yourself.
I left school with no qualifications. No, I left school with no qualifications. None.
I didn't enjoy school when I was younger.
I just found school generally quite boring.
My parents didn't care about my education, nothing.
But before he could get more parents to engage with the school, Charles knew he had to make improvements to the environment to make it more attractive and welcoming.
This was the main school entrance, roughly where we're standing now, and there was a wall that went right across here with a door, so that people's first impression when they came in through the door was another door. There was no welcome or anything, it was just a big open space, and when you came through the door, roughly where I'm standing now, was a toilet, and then the reception desk was in a separate room behind that. So one of the first things I wanted to do was open the whole area up to make it much more welcoming.
Charles set up a community room where he ran courses for parents.
What we found was that we had very poor take-up. Literacy had about 3 parents, numeracy a similar amount, ICT 0. Were the courses attractive in themselves anyway? Were they actually aiming at the right level? I mean, I felt very strongly that we were aiming at too high an academic level for the parents themselves. What we should have been doing was trying to get the parents into the school in the first instance and then gradually build up their confidence and then build up their literacy skills and numeracy skills if that's what was needed, so that then they would have the right skills to support their children. What I decided to do to get parents involved was to, with 2 other schools, to employ a community worker to actually first of all find out what it was the parents really wanted. Why was it that they weren't coming into school?
Funded by a local regeneration agency, community worker Lucy Rayner has been at the school for a year.
I think in a lot of schools, but I think maybe especially in more disadvantaged areas, there is a culture of not getting involved, and teachers are seen as, or schools are seen as quite intimidating places. And schools have changed a lot in the last few years, but unless parents have come in and see that, they won't know that actually how much they've changed. So we try and get parents just to come in to use the school, just so that they can see what's going on and how it has changed, and hopefully break down some of their fears.
One of the most successful new courses at the school is a women's activity group. It's popular with some of the parents who never usually come into school. An on-site creche makes it possible for many more of them to attend.
It's completely focused on sort of like fitness and exercise rather than education, but because it's linked to the school that parents are coming in, they're getting used to, you know, the facilities, coming in, seeing the, sort of like how the school runs, and coming in and enjoying themselves.
Lucy has encouraged parents to take over running the course.
If you've had a sort of negative experience of education and sort of like have that in the back of your mind that actually you failed at school and were a failure, to actually turn that around and be able to sort of like run a course and get lots of compliments, it does loads for sort of self-confidence and self-esteem.
But many parents don't recognise that their involvement with the school can influence their children.
You get to an age you think, I know best, you know, like, no matter what mum or dad says, you know, they don't know nothing. Because my daddy thinks that I was put here at the age I am. He doesn't think that I was used to be 8 years old or anything like that. So he just thinks I was put in this way to be, you know, 21-year-old I am.
Yeah, I know, but I actually think that you can do things. I mean, your children are seeing you at the school, interacting at the school, so they're seeing it as a positive place. You know what I mean? If you're actually doing things within the school, the kids are then seeing that, like, you enjoy coming in here, because some kids just don't like school, do they?
Oh, yeah.
So I think parents interacting within the school, I think, is really good.
One of the things in the past is parents have sort of like said that they can feel quite patronised by sort of activities that are on because they live in a disadvantaged area, that they must therefore need lots of basic skills and training. And although that is probably a need in the area, it's the way that that's done. And it's important that you know, the activities that are on offer gets them the skills that they want to develop, but done in a way that's right for them. Rather than setting up a group sort of like focused around literacy and sort of reading with children, we started a Story Sacks project where parents were involved with volunteers from the community in making story sacks, and as part of that parents were learning lots of skills about how to bring stories alive, make them much more interesting and enjoyable. And so loads of literacy sort of like skills with that, with making games for their children, but done in a much more sort of like friendly sort of way, and that worked really well.
Because I never used to sort of sit down and talk to them or help them read, or you know, when you get parents, I sit down and read with them. I never used to do any of that, but I do now.
We wolf left around a red, big red wolf. This one's called the Big Red Wolf.
Single mother Vicky has been helping in the school for over a year.
My son Daniel found it very difficult to learn to read last year, and Lucy, our community schools worker, got me into helping out, and I'd done one afternoon a week, and within a few months you could see the progression. He was so happy, and he used to always opt, "Can I read?" you know.
Well, this is a big word. Do you think you could read that? In
The gating. Investigating.
He's amazing at reading. He's, you know, improved greatly, and he loves the fact that Mummy's around. It's all Mummy helps him learn to read.
Leaving her 2 other children in childcare, Vicky manages to help in class 4 afternoons a week.
I help them with their work. If they ask, they put their hand up. The children read to me, and they feel so proud of themselves.
Vicky is now training to become a teaching assistant.
At the end of the day, after my course, I take my homework home and I write up my notes again so they're in neat so I can read them and understand them. Daniel has little bits of, you know, worksheets he brings home. He sits there and says, "Oh, I'll do my homework too," and we do it together. And it's not homework for him. It's, you know, it's just a bit of fun, and you know, it just gets him into it. And he's so, wow, Mummy's doing her homework. I better. So, and that's good.
The changes to the school's environment are taking effect. It's becoming somewhere parents now feel welcome.
I mean, before I was involved with the women's group on Mondays, I think I'd find it a lot harder to approach people in the office. If I had a problem with my daughter, I'd find it quite intimidating. But now, because they know that we have to muck around group and that we're human as well, and they're human. No, I think it opens big doors actually.
No, the only time I'd come in is when they asked me to come in. But now I just come in and talk to the receptionists, talk to the teachers now.
Once I was too scared of coming in and talking to teachers because I felt they were more higher up than what I was, and I felt quite low. But now I'm actually fine with coming in. I can talk to them, I chat to them, I have tea and biscuits. They've always got cake as well.
Parents have helped transform the vandalised building and empty tarmac of 5 years ago. There's now an adventure playground, landscaped gardens, and not a broken window in sight. The Parents' Environment Group also work with the children, encouraging them to plant and grow vegetables. The image of the school in the wider community is gradually changing.
The school won a prize in the recent Brighton and Bloom competition, which has been really good publicity for the school and sort of raises the profile of it in a positive way. I think often in the past, the only time people have heard about Moulsecoomb is if there's been some trouble, and it's actually quite nice for people to get some positive publicity. Part of the thing to get parents involved is to see that actually it's a sort of worthwhile place and going, it's improving as a school, and that gives them motivation for getting involved.
There is a lot for parents to get involved with.
And I've done quite a few courses here, done at the school, which has helped me to help my children.
The project to involve parents has been running a year, but it's a slow process, and every quarter Lucy has to report back to her funders.
A lot of research shows that involving parents in their children's education does lead to an increase in pupils' attainment. We're required to show that, but obviously within a very small project, within a limited, a short time scale that we're funded by, it's really difficult to show that. It's the things like self-confidence and self-esteem that actually, anecdotally, you can see that it's happening, but actually to put it on paper is actually quite difficult.
There are now 15 different activities at the school, run for and by the parents from the fitness group, cookery and dance clubs to an accredited course to support children's learning.
This is one of their favourite books, Elmer the Elephant, because they love the fact that he shouts boo, basically, and that he's really bright coloured.
There was nothing like this when mine were younger.
I just started a parents group on Thursdays.
Paediatric first aid course at the school as well.
And I've done a literacy course here.
Go to a mother and toddler group that's held up at the school too.
And I used to work volunteering in the classroom.
It's all Lucy's fault. I have no free time now.
See you later then, have a good lesson. Bye then, bye.
Gradually, more parents are coming into school, but for the head, there's a long way to go.
With so much of the work we're doing, we're talking long term. We're talking next generation, to be perfectly honest. You know, what I'm trying to do here at the school is really, it's going to have an impact on these children's parents and carers, but the biggest impact it's going to have is on the children themselves. So that if they stay within the estate, which many of them do, you know, from the time they're born to the time they die, they stay on the estate, that their perceptions will be very different, and so that when they have children, they will see why education is a positive thing.